well some more tomorrow night, but I'm sorry that you won't be here tomorrow, but I know you've got plans with your wife, and we do share our lives, especially as volunteers for this radio show. And this is formed by people that are friends of mine in the ACO Club, and I get to choose who those people are. So it's sort of fun to have your own little club, like Spanky and our gang. You know, we've got dogs ourselves, but we're loving creatures, I guess one might say. But I believe that what brought us together was the word ET in the name, because it's something Ken, myself, and Ahmad share, is the love for energy that we can't explain, or maybe our soul or spirit. I call it spirit science, but the fact that it's my choice to believe we're all extraterrestrials. That's my choice in my universe. And we're creating the Allied Command Organization, which one of my levels, or we'll say my bilocation, if you will, or a part of my spirit or my soul, is in another place. And they're learning to explain that, like quantum entanglement, or how can one be in two places at one time? Is this really a holographic universe, or is this a place in space that goes on forever out to source, which may be the real original comprehension of what God is? We don't know. But the people that I've come across on the planet and off the planet, most of them say God has always been. So that's my philosophy. My mother's philosophy was, my physical, biological mother said, live and let live. And when they moved from World War II, and my grandpa was Jewish, and my grandmother, I believe she was a Mennonite, because her sisters all wore those. I saw them, and I saw their kids, so they were Mennonites. So sort of a strange thing on my mother's side, the Richmonds, but that was the reality for her growing up in World War II. She was born December 5th, 1932, and she passed May 4th, 2011. And what's so funny is her and my dad had been divorced since I was 12 years old, 1964, but he died within that same year. And they didn't even live in the same state. They never kept in touch after, they divorced. They were estranged. So I had a stepfather in Houston, Texas. But I found it extremely odd that both my parents passed the same year. So what is that about? I believe we're all ET spirits, and we're somehow come down here and we find each other to do whatever. And in my group, my metaphysical groups, we do find other meanings. Maybe we believe certain things because we find it in each other to endorse and approve or share the same feeling or emotion. And maybe that's what it's about, because those off planet, a lot of them I worked with they were like Spock. They had no emotions. And the way it was explained to me was they were like we're DNA experiments down here, for those of you that don't have that connection to extraterrestrials, is the fact that some of us do, and that's disclosure, is the fact that we've been coming and going on this planet for billions of years. It's just some of us have families with the knowledge and the extension in our DNA or memories encoded to know this. Others do not. And I've met people of the Irish descent that seem to have that same knowledge and memories that I do. I've met people from Norway. And some people say that it's only the white people that came from space, and I don't agree. I believe all of us are from an extraterrestrial origin of some place. Some of us call them star people, star beings, and especially in what I call the Ascension age. So after 12/21/12, and I was preaching and teaching, and my grandson will say, "Preach, Grandma," because he'll want me to say something to my daughters that drink, and I don't drink, and he doesn't want them to drink, right? And they'll get all silly sometimes at night and keep us up late, which they did last night. So we didn't get a lot of rest because they were real loud talking and having a good time, with spirits. But those kind of spirits are different. But, it's nothing wrong with anything in moderation. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that spirits inside you and spirits we use and the way we talk and think about spirits, we all can be spirits. And sooner or later, we're going to leave this earth. And I would rather know that I have a comfort while I'm in the body, that knowing when I left my body, I was still real. So I've experienced that. And so maybe now that we're all agreeing there's something, at least those of us that want to claim creationist or spiritualist or ET, whether we get on the same page or not, I would like to think the three of us as veterans that have had some training, we understand life a little bit of how we've experienced it, and that there is a way to know when you're children and you help your children, you help your ill and you're elderly and you're abused. And, you know, we're trying to take care of each other and be of support to each other, which there's something to that. The extraterrestrials taught me that things can be bred in and bred out based on what's needed at the time. So I would like to suggest that in space you have good and bad, or malevolent and benevolent, and that we're all going to learn about that more so than we have in the past. And it was never them and us. It's always been us. It's just that there's some groups of us out in space and other universes that may not be as accommodating to people on the planet. They may come and need our resources. They may need certain things, like in some folklore, like the Anunnaki with the gold in their planet Nibiru, which, you know, now a lot of people are studying whether they believe it based on epistemology or the words or the folklore or the ancient history, depending on how you want to refer to it. It's just learning how to relate something you may have known or may have heard about, or is it something that you're inbred with as a belief? So we're going to look at all that. And Matt, I don't know that a belief is knowledge, but information is power on this planet, isn't it?
Well, yeah, information is power, definitely. Belief is also a form of power, but you know, it's where you found that belief on that makes a difference. And I mean, if put the foundation of your beliefs in hearsay or just what other people say, then it's a false foundation. You have to figure this stuff out for yourself.
Good point. Ken, any last words before we get off of here?
Well, yeah, I think we each one need to put out impression. Like I much earlier, I said that people could get in and look at contact, looking at kenjohnstonmedia.net, because someone tried .com and I got hacked real bad, and I shifted away from .com and went to .net. So I mean, I'll do my best to respond back to that. But we are now part of a collective, if you will, a collective of intelligent beings, and hopefully we can expand that terminology of intelligence. It's questionable for some of us, but we're doing the best we can with what we have and what we got. So I'm really honored in reality to be able to work with Ahmad and TJ and the others that are coming on board with this team. And yes, we are going to be playing, but is the play really playing, or is it just that we're going to have fun and succeeding in creating and making contact and ready for contact with the other intelligent beings that have been doing their best to keep us from destroying this planet? So there's still a lot of room for a lot of people and a lot to learn. And the more we can learn and the more we can share, the sooner we'll be able to take a better place in this galaxy, in this universe. I've got to say.
All right. And if anybody needs a cause besides joining the Ascension Age, or those that believe that we're all extraterrestrials and we're all ascending into whatever, I go by 7 levels: universe, multiverse, metaverse, xenoverse, and omniverse. And those are the 5 levels of this kingdom on the planet. And then above that, we have alphaverse and omegaverse. And in writing, we use alpha males. I guess we use alpha females too. But we have ways of consciousness we use as beta, alpha, theta, delta, gamma, sigma, and Tau. And Tau consciousness, and you can study all this in neuroscience and learn about a lot from people with us in cyberspace. So, if you have something you're interested in, especially in the metaphysical world, I have ACE Metaphysical Institute, and I do have a gathering, and we just did an event here. We're doing about every 6 months at the Navarre Conference Center, so let me know if you're interested, and we can hook you up. And we're going to do what we can in 2020 to maybe have a gathering in Jacksonville, Florida, or somewhere closer to Ahmad so he can be there and hopefully get Ken over. And then Ken had one in 2018 in his backyard in New Mexico in 2018. And then I've had these locally 2019. And then we're in 2020, we're going to head over towards, I guess, we got to have an international airport. Ken, can people get to your area of the country, or would we have to go to Atlanta? Or can we?
Go to the other universe. No, Albuquerque, New Mexico is where people would come into. And if we're going to be, that's just it. We have not yet picked a site. Is it going to be? Albuquerque is a universal and worldwide location where people come in from every country all over. So it is a central hub. And if we want to do it that way, we can do it. I find that Albuquerque is kind of right in the middle of the whole United States, east, west, central, and north and south. It's a pretty good location. Denver, Colorado, of course, I know is probably dead center, but Albuquerque has got more room. And so we still have to work out exactly where we want to have this next big convention. And as soon as we do, everybody's going to hear about it, both on the live internet as well as on our programs that we're doing here. So that didn't answer the question, but the best I've got for you right now.
Well, Jacksonville does say it's an international airport. I've driven by there in a big truck, but I may have flown into Jacksonville back in the days. I used to fly all over the world, on top of it and underneath it too. So I've been under it, on it, and over it. So, folks, the ET world, you can say it's my belief if you want to, or you can say scientifically prove we're not extraterrestrial. So that's going to be the ACO Association. We have articles and bylaws on our ACO Association with Ken Johnston Sr., Thomas Becker, and Theresa Morris, or Theresa J Morris. My Facebook.com/Theresa Morris. And Mad Painter is AMAD and then PAINTR. That's your Facebook, right, Mad? I want to at least leave them our Facebook pages because we use those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my Facebook.
Okay, and Ken, what's your Facebook?
I hope it's KenJohnstonMedia.net. Ken Johnston Sr., that thing you look there. You'll find me wearing my dark blue flight suit and talking in front of a bunch of little pre-kindergartners and young kids and getting them off to a good head start. So do a little research, you'll find me.
All right, so Ken Johnston on Facebook, and he's got 3 or 4. So look for JOHNSTON first of all. And I'm going to punch on yours. There's one with him in his flight suit, and then there's one with a monkey and a couple others. But it says Ken Johnston _3158. So Ken.Johnston. Ken, you should write that down. That your Facebook, the one you're presently using, folks, is they put www, but you don't have to put all that anymore. We've got some new rules you don't have to do. But just remember Facebook.com/KEN JOHNSTON, and I believe it's underscore. No, it's dot. Wow, okay. So it's Ken Johnston .3158. So Ken.Johnston .3158. That's the one you're using. And then I'm sure you can just go to Facebook and pull up the picture. Now, let me make sure, Ahmad Painter. Let's see. Ahmad Painter, and we will close this out. We're going to be here tomorrow night with Dr. Elena Scott, and see what we can build with her. Ahmad's is all one word, AMADPAINTER, and that's actually Thomas R. Becker, BECKER, from Tonawanda, New York, lives in Valdosta, Georgia. So this is open. Now, he has worked at ACO, DBA Ascension Center Organization, which is also part of the mother company for ACO Association. And we'll get into all that. You can go to ascensioncenter.com and read our articles and bylaws and subscribe. And we'll be back here tomorrow night and see if we can encourage Irena Scott Dr. Scott to be more involved with our ACO Association. Everybody's invited. Please join us on Facebook. And mine is, I have Theresa Morris. So mine's facebook.com/Theresa